Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be home again. I want to point out that first passage from the first reading that we heard Judy proclaim so beautifully this afternoon from the Acts of the Apostles. It starts with an instruction by the risen Jesus to wait. I wonder if the disciples in that early community weren't frustrated by that directive. You can see that they were all set to get going on things. But no, they had to wait for their baptism with the Holy Spirit, and then they will know how and where to be Jesus' witnesses. He wants them to break free from their limited view of things. And in order to do that, they're going to need some help. So they must first acknowledge their dependence on God and wait for God to pour out that help upon them. We're not good at waiting, are we? In fact, we stink at that. We tire out if we don't get quick results for things. You know that feeling, waiting on lines, waiting at traffic lights to change, waiting for our children to come home from a dance, waiting with our aging parents at the doctor's office, waiting for the war in Ukraine to come to an end. Waiting is not what we do well. Why is waiting so frustrating? It is because someone else or some other power is in charge and not us. And being out of the control and subject to outside forces, that reminds us of our vulnerability. Jesus tells his disciples to wait for the promise of the Father. They cannot go on spreading the news of his resurrection on their own. They are a small, fearful community that has no power on its own. And as the Gospels show us time and time again, they have this tendency to get Jesus' message wrong. So the disciples and we must hold our horses, restrain ourselves, and wait for God's promise to be fulfilled. What's more, that fulfillment will come at God's timing, not ours. But we're an action-oriented group, aren't we? We have our projects and our plans. We want to get on with things. And even when our plans and intentions are noble and serve good purpose, really, the first question that we always should be asking is, how does God figure into these plans? Do we know? Have we asked? Do we wait for an answer or get some direction? Maybe we have to hurry up and wait. Don't just do something, stand there. Waiting on the Spirit is a reversal of our usual mode of operation. Even as Christ talks to his disciples about their mission to the ends of the earth, Luke is in that first reading we heard, is making sure that we do not forget what had happened in Jerusalem. We recall that Emmaus story and the failed and frustrated hopes of those two disciples that were out on the road. We need to wait for the gift of the Spirit. That Spirit who sustains us when the going gets rough. We will be witnesses to Jesus by the integrity of our lives and the commitment to his ways. But all of you know, even if we are faithful to what His Spirit teaches us, at work, with our families, in school, in the political arena, there will be, more than likely, some suffering. Or maybe worse. Maybe we'll just be ignored or discounted as unrealistic, dismissed as impossible idealists. We will need the gift of the Spirit, and with that will come some more waiting. And we are wearied by that waiting. We all need help that we cannot provide for ourselves. And so I invite all of you again to hear what the early church heard in its anguish and yearning. It is not for you to know the times or the seasons that the Father has established by God's own authority. How difficult that is for us to hear these words, surrounded as we are by the kind of events that we see and hear on the evening news, and even right here in our own county. But what we do have here is the belief that Jesus reigns. And He's going to send the Holy Spirit to help us live as we're supposed to. And we cannot force the hand of the Spirit, but know that it is a gift that is constantly coming at us. But it is one that requires waiting. But trust me, folks, the wait is worth it.